What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment-related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. You guys know that I'm a massive fan of the Gears of War franchise. This is one of the big three as far as the big three franchises in my opinion, that being Call of Duty, StarCraft, and Gears of War. And what I'll say, guys, is Gears and the fan base and all of that as of lately has been, a lot of negativity. Let's just put it that way. Now, obviously, guys, with new operations, there comes a lot of, hype and excitement around it. And then a lot of times, a lot of people in the community find new ways to complain about whatever it might be that they don't like in the new operations that the Coalition brings out for Gears 5. But what I want to talk about, guys, in this first segment of the show is Gears 6. Looking forward to the future of this franchise. Obviously, Gears 6, Gears 7, as well as a Gears of War movie were all confirmed by Rod Ferguson, who was the studio head at the Coalition until he ended up parting ways and heading over to Blizzard. So we haven't heard further word, guys, of Gears 6 and Gears 7 being confirmed or that they're going to be in development, that being really Gears 6. Of course, we're going in chronological order, but nonetheless, guys, we're going based on the speculation that Gears 6 is definitely coming, that Rod Ferguson was being honest when he said that these are games that are definitely going to be coming out. And I think a lot of people really enjoy, if you don't like Gears 5 that much, there's also Gears Tactics. There's also other ways in which you can connect with the franchise, that being like Gears Pop. And so there's a lot of different ways, guys, and there's more ways now than ever to connect with the Gears of War franchise, which is absolutely amazing. Well, with Gears 6, guys, I want to talk about everything that we want. And when I say we, guys, obviously it's just going to be me giving you guys my opinions. But I've, heard some, rumblings, of course, from other people in the community, some of the things that they want to see, improved upon, or new things that they want to see moving into Gear 6. And then if you guys don't, obviously you won't agree probably with everything I'm about to say. But the things that you don't agree with me on, I would love to hear your opinions on some of these things in the comment section below and kind of give me everything that you guys want to see in Gear 6. So here we go, guys. Number one. The number one thing, guys, I would like to see in Gear 6 is a full-blown open world story. So look, they tried this semi-world kind of idea in Gears 5, and I thought it was really great. I loved being able to explore a little bit more of the Gears of War, just the landscapes, the environments, and starting to have that open world feel to it, I think was something special, because obviously in the past, guys, it's been very linear, and now with Gears 5, having semi-open world was cool, but it was almost a tease in a couple of different ways. I mean, because it was semi-open, it wasn't completely open world, so I'd like to see an open world experience. Now, obviously, guys, open world experience probably is going to take a lot more time for the Coalition to, put together, but I think it would be totally worth waiting for the, open world Gears of War game, to say the least. So I'd be willing to wait a couple extra years to play an open world Gears of War title. Number two, for me, guys, is I would like to see the story. I would like it to see us take the helm of JD or Marcus. I'd like us to take the helm, with Marcus one last time. Just because, look, not that I don't like KD, as I think she's an incredible character, and I really like her as a playable character, but there was something about, Marcus, and then Marcus kind of passing the torch onto JD, so to speak, where you kind of take the helm playing as JD in Gears 4, and then that was kind of stripped from us in Gears 5 because it was almost like just KTS becomes the, the next playable character, and JD, they kind of portrayed him as somewhat of a douchebag in Gears 5, which I didn't really like that either. I didn't like where his story arc was going. Now, obviously, guys, spoilers right here. If you haven't beaten Gears of War, I mean, guys, you should have beaten it at this point. But near the end of the game, you have to choose between, of course, Dell or JD's life, who's you're going to keep, and, who you're going to save, essentially. And obviously, we don't know what canon's going to be coming into Gear 6. We don't know if JD's going to be the one who is, moving on to the next story, or if Dell is moving on to the next story. I would say probably JD. And I would like to play as JD, guys, because I was just starting to kind of get used to and enjoy playing as him as a playable character in Gears of War 4. And then it feels like, he like passed the torch on to Kate Diaz from, basically right away, right after, Gears 4, it ends up, Kate Diaz becomes the next playable character in Gears 5. And I think what I'd like is maybe get like kind of a Last of Us feel where you're playing as both characters. Maybe you play a little bit as Kate Diaz, you play a little bit as JD, a little bit as Marcus. I just think that it would be nice to play as, a couple of those characters, because Marcus, guys, he's my favorite character in the franchise. I know he is for a lot of people, and I absolutely love his character and what he was for the first, Gears of War trilogy. So I'd love to see him be a playable character in the campaign. Maybe if you just had a choice between the three, it would be kind of sweet as well. The next thing, guys, is obviously, as far as the story is concerned, I kind of like the idea of having different choices. That's kind of a cool concept, because you've been able to have choices in the past, but the stakes have never been as high as they were in Gears 5. I mean, choosing which life to save, it was usually which path are you going to go down, the left path or the right path in the previous installments of the franchise. So I'm wondering where they're going to go with that. Are they going to keep upping the stakes as far as as they continue onwards with this franchise? That will be something very interesting. I do like it, but I also am concerned about it with regard to canon. What is canon and such? I hope they're able to kind of wrap some of those loose ends and such. But the next thing, guys, is, for me at least, is when we're talking about the co-op modes and like, escape mode, which is of course in Gears 5 and having horde mode and such. Obviously having those modes I think is great. Escape mode's a really cool, new game mode. I'd love to see, even some even kind of an evolvement of some of those game modes. Maybe they have some new game modes that come out. I think Gears of War is one of those franchises that's very good at coming up with some new game modes and kind of really getting you to engage in the game and franchise as a whole. Bringing you back is really a huge ordeal, guys, with these games. I would say that having an escape mode once again in Gears 6 would be cool, but even something new. Gears of War, like a battle royale, would be really an interesting concept. I mean, that's more of a multiplayer, obviously, but I still think that would be a really cool way to be able to, do co-op with your friends and such. Having horde mode, absolutely, you got to have horde mode, guys. I mean, it's become a staple of Gears of War. I'd also like to see Beast Mode come back. I think Beast Mode was really underrated, guys, in Gears of War 3, and so I'd really like to see that come back in a major way. And then regarding the multiplayer, guys, I'm kind of maybe in the minority where I've absolutely loved the past couple installments in the Gears of War franchise from a multiplayer perspective. I thought Gears of War 4 was incredible with multiplayer. Even though Gears of War 3 was probably one of my most favorite and fond memories of multiplayer, I thought Gears of War 4 was great. And I thought Gears of War 5 was pretty much on the same track as Gears of War 4. They were probably kind of hand in hand in my opinion. I think Gears 4 had, a couple of better maps potentially, but I think Gears 5 had like just more colors. It was more more rich in its color palette and such. So there's kind of pros and cons to each of those, obviously. But I'd love to consistently see new game modes being added. I think that's one thing that makes it really awesome. I think Escalation was an incredible game mode. It was my favorite game mode at the time, even though I also love Execution. I would love to see the esports side of Gears of War moving in a direction of playing Execution over Escalation. I think Escalation's awesome, guys, and I love it as a game mode, a competitive game mode, but Execution really ups the stakes. It's a lot easier for people, that being just spectators in general, to understand what's going on, whereas with Escalation it's a little bit more confusing. So you want to make it kind of simplistic for a title like Gears of War that already is somewhat of a niche game, and it doesn't have like the biggest fan base on earth or something like a Call of Duty where they can have multiple game modes and such. Keeping it simple, you have one life and, there's power weapons on the map, kind of similar to like, Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, or even like kind of the game modes that they have in Halo or CSGO. Having like just, one game mode and having that as the main esports game mode, I think is really important. The next thing, guys, obviously I want to see personally, this is kind of getting more on a marketing perspective and such. I think it's really important that the coalition and such, they kind of give all the tools needed to the content creators and the streamers out there in the community to really do and have the best opportunity to grow the scene further. I feel like a lot of the streamers out there, the coalition has given, some of the tools necessary to do that, but a lot of the content creators and the streamers, they're not really, not everyone is streaming the game that much, or they're not, creating content on a consistent basis. There might only be a few people. Whereas like with Call of Duty and other big titles out there, there's tons of creators and tons of streamers that are streaming the game to really help boost those numbers and help to build the fan base and the scene in a major way. I think that's something that needs to happen moving forward. Whether that means the coalition, anytime that there's any problems with the game, I think it's really important that the coalition, anytime they're hearing feedback from the community, they get on it as quickly as possible and they fix those things, whether it's in updates or in just quick patches and such, similar to like what certain games out there, guys, when you think of like Fortnite and how many updates they have on a consistent basis and, just all the different games that are out on the gaming landscape that are consistently updating their game to keep it fresh, keep it exciting. I think that's something that needs to happen with Gears of War, especially because it is, it's not for everybody, and it's a dark and like gritty type of game. So it's more for a mature, following and a mature fan base. And so you really have to find ways in which that you can grow this audience and grow the fan base as a whole, because it's not going to be as easy as like Fortnite, something that's more kid friendly. This is more dark and gritty. So you got to find ways to do that. And I think giving a lot more of the power to the creators and streamers to help kind of push this brand into a major way, I think would be really helpful in the future. But those are things, guys, that we could go on and on for days about other ways that we would love to see this franchise continue to grow and things that we would want, right? There's a lot of other things. You could talk about the weapons. You could talk about, cosmetic items like the cosmetic shop, or you could talk about, just all the different microtransactions to all the things that, make Gears of War what it is at this very moment in time. And the things that you might want changed or the things that you want to stay moving into Gear 6. I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you guys want to see the most in Gears 6? Are you guys big into the campaign, big into the multiplayer, big into, the co-op modes? Let me know, guys, what you want to see. And for more Gears 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. One of the movie franchises that I've been so excited, guys, to kind of revisit is Top Gun. And when they announced that this was a movie that was going to be coming out, I was really excited, to say the least, guys. I definitely love action movies and movies like this with Tom Cruise that, have a lot of stunts in them and a lot of like really interesting cinematography and really exciting cinematography at the very least. This is a movie and a series that I think is really special, and I think Top Gun Maverick is going to have some really cool stuff involved in it. A really fun blockbuster movie to take in. Obviously, with the grand landscape of what's going on in the film industry, we don't know if Maverick is going to be, coming out in the very, it sounds like obviously they got release dates and such, but the question remains, is it going to get delayed even further like so many other movies because of the pandemic? Well, I want to talk about, in this second segment of the show, I want to talk about everything we know so far about Top Gun Maverick. So let's talk about it. An article, guys, that was written by Nicolina Illick of GQ. Are you ready to head back to the danger zone? Tom Cruise, who most will know, played the hero in the cult classic 1986 action film, first shared an image from the set of the long-awaited Top Gun reboot earlier this year, revealing that the film had been in active development for almost a decade. All the interested parties, including Paramount, Tom Cruise, and producer Jerry Bruckheimer, said that they've been trying to get a new Top Gun film made for 30 years. However, plans were put on hold in 2012 after Tony Scott, director of the original, sadly took his own life. Cruise did eventually confirm that a new Top Gun was set to start filming last year during a press tour for The Mummy. Now with the first trailer on our doorsteps, Here we go. So guys, they've already released obviously the trailer. We've seen a number of, different images and things of that nature. And obviously this was confirmed back in 2014 that Justin Marks, who most recently wrote the screenplay for Disney's live action adaptation of The Jungle Book, would be set to pen the film. Joseph Kosinski, who previously directed Cruise in the visually striking Oblivion, will reunite with the actor to direct. As has been made very clear by all parties involved, Paramount and Jerry Bruckheimer are both directly involved in producing and distributing the film. As far as the cast is concerned, guys, they got a pretty stellar cast, to say the least. As of today, we can confirm stars Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Val Kilmer, Jennifer Connelly, Jon Hamm, and Ed Harris all play a part in the new film. Which is huge, guys. I mean, when you look at this, Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Val Kilmer, Jennifer Connelly, Jon Hamm, and Ed Harris. That's a stellar cast, to say the least. You got Jerry Bruckheimer as a producer, which is great. He's done so much different types of films and such, lots of action films. So that's really exciting as well. Now, since then, Paramount have unveiled the cast set to take the Top Gun franchise into a new generation with Louis Pullman, Charles Parnell, Bashir Salhuddin, Monica Barbaro, Jay Ellis, Danny Ramirez, and Greg Tarzan Davis rounding out the ensemble. So, guys, the pictures and the images are really, really cool. It looks like this is something that's going to be really special, to say the least. I think it's going to be one of those movies, guys, that it's gonna take your breath away when you see like those visuals of the airplanes and such flying around, and I think that's gonna be some of the best because back, obviously with the earlier Top Gun films, watching those now, it's like, it's really impressive, but with the technology that we have now, this could be something really, really special. As far as the story goes, guys, Cruise will return the role of an older, wiser Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell, whose role in the film will be as a mentor to the next generation of fighter pilots. As you might expect, the recruits are shocked out of their amusement fairly quickly as Maverick shows why he's so highly regarded. Aviators are back. The need for speed. We're going to have big, fast machines, Cruise previously told Access Hollywood. It's going to be a competition film like the first one, but a progression for Maverick. The story is rumored to explore the relationship between human pilots and unmanned drones in the modern military. Given the film's title, Top Gun Maverick, it's expected that Cruise's pilot character will be at the center of the story, likely fighting to affirm the value of human pilots. And after more than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Mitchell is where he belongs, pushing the envelope as a courageous test pilot and dodging the advancement in rank that would ground him. When he finds himself training a detachment of Top Gun graduates for a specialized mission, the likes of which no living pilot has ever seen, Maverick encounters Lieutenant Bradley Bradshaw, call sign Rooster, the son of Maverick's late friend, and radar intercept officer Lieutenant Nick Bradshaw. Facing an uncertain future and confronting the ghosts of his past, Maverick is drawn into a confrontation with his own deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those who will be chosen to fly it. And then, guys, as far as when this is slated, June 26th, guys. However, given the busy midsummer release schedule that coincides with the film's release, Paramount have decided to bump Maverick forward to get a head start on the competition. So, this means you can expect to watch the film on June 24th, so later this month. Now, the question is, though, guys, is it going to stick to that, or are we going to be pushing this thing forward? Because, man, a lot of movies, guys, are pushing their movie release dates later on in the year because of the pandemic, which is really unfortunate. We all understand it, for the most part, even though us movie fans absolutely want these movies to come out sooner rather than later because we want to watch them. But obviously, we got to be safe about everything, and it's really unfortunate that, it would be great if they can stick with this, but it's hard to say whether or not they're going to be able to. But at this point in time, guys, the thing I love and am so excited about this movie in particular is not just the cast. It's not just, that Top Gun's back. It's not, even really Tom Cruise. It's the fact that it's all of it put together And this is a movie that I think is going to really, it could actually have some of the best visuals of the year. It could really like kick off, the film world once again, right? This and like Tenet and, there's a number of other movies that are trying to stick to their, release dates and such. So I think that there is definitely something here that, is going to be really special overall from a visual perspective, from character development perspectives, and just all in all, guys, I think that we're in for a real treat. But even though we know a decent amount about what the story is and such, what they've done a really good job of is keeping kind of a wrap, keeping to, kind of some disclosure and some secrecy to really what this story all is, and I think there's a lot of mystery to it still as well, which I think is really awesome as well. But let me know, guys, in the comment section below, what are you most excited about with Top Gun Maverick? Are you excited to see the return of Top Gun? Are you guys, what is it about the story that you're interested in seeing? Let me know in the comment section below, and for more Top Gun Maverick content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Do you guys remember Flappy Bird? Guys, this was a game when it came out, absolutely went viral back in 2013, and it feels like it wasn't around very long before it got taken down, and there were so many other spin-offs and spiritual successors to Flappy Bird and its success, and it was really unfortunate, a really unfortunate thing, guys, that this game got taken down. But I want to talk about what happened to this game and where and could it ever return at some point in the future? So let's talk about it. So guys, just as a reminder, this is going to be coming to you from Wikipedia. And Flappy Bird is a mobile game developed by Vietnamese video game artist and programmer Dong Junyan. Under his game development company .Gears, the game is a side-scroller where the player controls a bird attempting to fly between columns of green pipes without hitting them. Junyan created the game over the period of several days using a bird protagonist that he had designed for a canceled game in 2012. So here's the thing. This game, guys, when it first came out, the developer said that Flappy Bird was earning $50,000 a day from in-app advertisements as well as sales. So Flappy Bird was removed from both the App Store and Google Play by its creator on February 10, 2014. He claims that he felt guilt over what he considered to be its addictive nature and overuse. The game's popularity and sudden removal caused phones with it pre-installed to be put up for sale for high prices over the internet. Games similar to Flappy Bird became popular on the iTunes App Store in the wake of its removal, and both Apple and Google have removed games from their app stores for being too similar to the original. The game has also been distributed through unofficial channels on multiple platforms. In August of 2014, a revised version of Flappy Bird called Flappy Bird's Family was released exclusively for the Amazon Fire TV. Baytech Games also released a licensed coin-operated Flappy Bird arcade game. So look, this created so much, excitement, and it was actually a ton of fun, guys. Flappy Bird was amazing. If you never played it, guys, it was so much fun. And now, there were other games that came out afterwards, like, I think Flappy Wings came out, and that was actually pretty fun as well. I enjoyed that one. Kind of reminded me of Flappy Bird, but maybe a little bit better, like a tad bit better graphics, but it was, Flappy Bird, guys, was the original. This was the OG one, and there were so many spiritual successors that came from it. Now, if we read onwards, why this game got discontinued, on February 8, 2014, Junyan announced on Twitter that the game was to be removed from both Apple's App Store and Google Play, writing, "I am sorry, Flappy Bird users. 22 hours from now, I will take Flappy Bird down. I cannot take this anymore." He went on to say that taking down the game had nothing to do with legal issues. The game was removed from both Apple's App Store and Google Play exactly on time, much to the dismay of many fans. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would this guy take this game down when you're making around $50,000 a day? Look, I mean, between the time that it was up, guys, and he was, had it up and it was, out there for everyone to play, he was making so much money that at the end of the day, he probably still made a ton of money, even though he put it, took it down. It felt like he should have let it up for a little bit longer. It's hard to say, but 203 News, an English language newspaper in Vietnam, reported that from a local technology expert that Flappy Bird's removal could have been due to a legal challenge from Nintendo over perceived visual similarities to Mario games. This allegation was denied by a Nintendo spokesman to the Wall Street Journal. Lawyers in Vietnam also denied allegations that Junyan had to remove the game due to violating new laws on internet use in the country. So look, lots of question marks here. Look, was he forced to take, to put it down? From the sounds of it, though, guys, it sounds like it was actually really affecting him in a negative way. It doesn't really sound very, the addictive nature of it was a reason for it going down. That doesn't seem like, why would that be a reason for him to take it down? It's hard to say, but following the removal, many media outlets reported that several merchants on eBay were offering phones which had the app pre-installed for US $14.99 or more, with some receiving bids of over $90,000. However, the listings were removed for violating eBay's rule stating that smartphones must be restored to factory settings before being sold. In an interview with Forbes, Junyan cited the game's addictive nature for its cancellation, stating Flappy Bird was designed to play in a few minutes when you are relaxed, but it happened to become an addictive product. I think it has become a problem. To solve that problem, it's best to take down Flappy Bird. It's gone forever. Junyan said that the guilt that he felt over the game was affecting his sleep and that his conscience was relieved after he took down the game. In a March 2014 interview with Rolling Stone, Junyan refused to rule out re-releasing Flappy Bird on condition that it would come with a warning to take a break. On March 19th, he announced via Twitter that the game will be released on app stores but not anytime soon. On May 15th, Junyan told CNBC's Kelly Evans that the game will return in August with multiplayer capability and will be less addictive. As Junyan had promised, August 2014 saw a revised version of Flappy Bird called Flappy Bird's Family released exclusively through the Amazon App Store for an Amazon Fire TV platform. The new version also features new obstacles not in the original, as well as an additional multiplayer option. So there you have it, guys. Think of it like this. The game actually came back, right? Flappy Bird's Family. A lot of you might not even know that. I didn't even know that until I was reading this for the first time when I was kind of preparing, because I wanted to talk about Flappy Bird, right? This was something that I've been wanting to talk about on the YouTube channel because this was a game that I really enjoyed. It was one of my favorite, mobile games for a while. And games kind of like it, right? When there's spiritual successors, I kept playing some of those spiritual successors because I just enjoyed the concept of the game. And so then when you start doing some research, Flappy Bird's Family, guys, comes out. And this is a game that came out. Now, I have not played it. I don't know how good it is. But from, thinking that this was a game that came out years ago. And then, it's crazy to think that Junyan decided not to bring this game back. And he decided to, because of the addictive nature of it, kind of, you got to take it with a pinch of salt because you kind of wonder, was there something that he was being pressured from Nintendo, or was he being pressured from his local government to take the game down? It's hard to say, guys. There could be a million different reasons why, governments and such would want certain games taken down, especially in, in other countries. It just, sometimes it happens and it's unfortunate, but it's hard to say. But if it is true what he says, that it was the addictive nature that he just didn't like, I honestly think, guys, that the fame and such actually got to him, in my personal opinion. I think that it wasn't so much that the game was addictive for other people. It was that the people were reaching out to him so much, saying, hey, can you update this? Can you do that? And it was just almost too much. He was just, he kind of wanted it to be something that people could enjoy, but it became something so much bigger and absolutely blew up. And he just might not have been the right person to have an item or a program that blew up the way it did. He probably just wasn't one of those people that would react very well to that. Hard to say. But what do you guys think about it, guys? Have you guys played Flappy Bird's Family? And what are your guys' best memories of Flappy Bird, or one of the spiritual successors like Flappy Wings, or one of those other, successors to this game? What do you guys think? And for more Flappy Bird content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. To say that I'm excited about Halo Infinite is an understatement, guys. Halo was one of those franchises that, for me personally, was one of the first games I ever played on the original Xbox. It came following Medal of Honor, Rising Sun, and Max Payne, and I started playing the Halo games, guys, and really fell in love with it. I fell in love with the competitive nature, the split screen that you could have against your friends and such, and Halo 2 more than anything. And then I got into Halo 3 as well. And obviously, all franchises, and Halo is certainly no different, has peaks and valleys within certain games. Some games do way better than others. Some games are regarded as, some of the best games of all time. Others are regarded as very poor installments in a franchise. But that being said, guys, Halo is one of the founding father games in not only just gaming in general, but even esports. It's a game, guys, in a franchise that has just created such a massive culture. So many like big personalities now came from the Halo franchise, and whether that be Ninja, who came from playing Halo professionally to doing Fortnite and absolutely blowing up, to even other guys like Fear itself, and the Ogres and Lunchbox, Roy and Nabel. I mean, the list goes on and on, guys, of all the guys in the esports side. Many people started in Halo and moved on to other things at one point or another throughout the course of Halo's history. Now, Halo has not done the best of job in certain areas, guys. When we're talking about the esports side, we can all agree that it hasn't been dealt with very well. Now, obviously, 343, it was their first go around with Halo 5 Guardians, and now they've got to, they kind of have a little bit of their footing. They kind of understand, okay, what they did right, wrong, and what they can do better moving forward. And so now you give them another shot, and now you got Halo Infinite. So here's everything that we want, guys. And when I say we, once again, I'm mainly just going to be kind of voicing my opinion, and I'll be kind of, a lot of these opinions probably you might agree with. If you don't, I would love to hear yours in the comment section below. But number one, guys, Halo Infinite, what would I like to see? I would love to see, similar to Gears 5, I would love to see a semi-open to an open world. Like, even if it's just a semi-open world, I think exploring Halo as much as we can would be something that would be really special. Obviously, guys, when we talk about Halo, it's pretty, it's been, for the most part, pretty linear as far as the story is concerned. So I think now, moving into a semi-open world, just to kind of try it out, or even a full-blown open world, they've kind of teased at that when you look at, just even the trailers that we've seen up to this point of Halo Infinite. And so that kind of gets me really excited. I think being able to explore more Halo and that world would be absolutely incredible. Number two would be, of course, Master Chief, taking that focus away from, in Halo 5 and how they kind of portrayed Master Chief in it, like moving in a direction where it's all about Master Chief. Once again, it's going to be very, very important in my opinion, and really kind of having him take the throne once again as the Spartan, as the Master Chief, and basing this entire story around him so that he can kind of take us into the next generation of consoles and such, I think is going to be very important moving forward. So Master Chief, as far as the story is concerned, absolutely is that. Number three would be, guys, as far as the story is concerned, another thing big for me, other than like open worlds or even just a semi-open world, having the Flood come back. I would love to see the Flood come back like in Halo 3. That was something that was really cool, that I absolutely loved the Flood. That was one of my favorite aspects of the Halo universe, was the Flood. I don't really know what it was about it. I just really liked the concept of it, or just the evolution of Halo, like adding new creatures or adding new aliens, adding, new species in this world that you're kind of coming in contact with, I think was really important, because at times it felt kind of like it kind of got a little bit stale, some aspects of the story. So I think like just adding variety to the creatures that you're going up against, to the weapons that you're utilizing, is going to be really important. The next thing, guys, I think that's really important is like having a number of co-op modes. And I think that Gears of War and Halo and games that are Xbox exclusives that are only on Xbox, I think that they have to do this. You have to have a full package, more and more reasons for people to come and play these games. And I think that Halo's got a real opportunity with Halo Infinite to be a real juggernaut of a game, because I think that once it comes out, you're going to have a lot of big-time personalities trying the game out, at least seeing what it's all about, seeing how good it is, and if they really hit on everything, they could have something really big on their hands, that being, 343. Now, that being said, though, what I'll say, guys, is about the co-op modes is having, just like I said, more and more ways that you can connect with this franchise. So we talked about the semi-open world to the open world. Then you have, co-op modes, ways that you can connect. A Forge mode would be huge, guys. I think Forge mode would be a massive way in which we can, our creativity, kind of like a Minecraft almost. You're like building worlds here, and with updated graphics in Halo, I think that Forge mode here would be absolutely great. Firefight, I would love to see Firefight come back. That was a lot of fun to play with your friends. Kind of reminds me of Horde mode in Gears of War, but a little bit more like bright and colorful, and, obviously it was a lot of fun to play with your friends. I remember playing it a lot with Halo Reach, and so a Firefight mode I think would be great as well. Having other co-op modes, whether those are new modes, I always like the evolution of some of these games. Seeing like, the continued, evolution, like I said, of some of these franchises I think are really important to see them, progress forward. And especially with how much Halo 5 was such a step in the wrong direction for the franchise from a perspective of the fan base, from, an esports perspective. It's very important that they hit this in a very, in a major way, guys. It's got to be knocked out of the park. And so I think having a lot of different ways you can connect with this franchise is going to be really important in Halo Infinite. Now, as far as the multiplayer is concerned, guys, we could talk about this for a very long time. I know a lot of people are of the mindset of no longer having sprint. They don't want to have the ability to sprint and such. Guys, I just think it's unrealistic, the not having sprint. I mean, in the other games, when you play those now, the movement was so slow, and it was my one thing I didn't like about the older Halo games. But once they incorporated sprint into the games, sure, it kind of hurt. I think that there were problems with some of those games, but I don't think that necessarily the problem was sprint. It was just people kind of blamed that, but when it was actually other things. So in my opinion, absolutely having sprint. I mean, you got to have it, guys. It's way more realistic. And even though Halo as a whole isn't a realistic game, I think it's more, fast-paced. It makes it makes the action a lot more exciting. Whether you're talking from watching from a spectator perspective of the esports side, or if you're talking about just playing it yourself, I think that's really important. I think having new weapons, like I said, having different ways you can customize different, some of your weapons, or whether that be skins or your characters and such, or having ways that you can customize, but not necessarily microtransactions. I'm talking, guys, more like things that you can earn. For me, it's all about earning stuff. I mean, I'll never forget in Halo Reach, they had, when you got to Inheritor, you had this awesome mask that had like a skull in it, and that was like something to really work hard for. It was like a real grind to get there. And so what I'm getting at is those are the things that I think that a lot of us want. Something that's like really grindy, but keeps us coming back. Something that's really exciting. And Halo Reach was one of my favorite Halo games, guys. I absolutely loved Halo Reach. I thought it was really well done from a multitude of perspectives. Unfortunately, obviously, the story was a little bit different, but I thought that was still really cool. It was kind of like a side story to Halo. And that being said, though, all in all, guys, adding some new multiplayer modes I think is really important as well. Adding some new multiplayer modes, like I said, co-op modes, having, Forge mode, and, having a semi-open world to a full-blown open world setting. I think those are things, guys, that would keep us coming back over and over again. And I think that if you have a balance, I think that the esports side of things at least should have, one game mode. I mean, maybe a couple, but I think that with Halo, guys, I mean, a lot of it, I feel like you need to go back to the roots of Halo. And in the beginning, obviously, they had a few different game modes that you would play. Slayer, you would have like Capture the Flag, which were really great. But I think that what it is nowadays in esports, guys, that makes games start to grow in a major way is having simplicity, having things that the spectator can understand very easily. Like Slayer, it's very easy to understand, similar like CSGO or Search and Destroy in Call of Duty or Execution in Gears of War. Simple concepts that and having, like, of course, the announcers and, all of that explain the game mode to a new audience, because it's almost like you're almost like restarting this Halo franchise with Halo Infinite. Even though it's been going on for a long time, they're almost like restarting things. So I think it's really important that everything needs to be done in a proper way, in my opinion, from 343. They know that they did a lot wrong with of course, Halo 5. But now with Halo Infinite, they've kind of got some footing now, and now I think anytime that there's a problem, anytime that there's something that the fan base really wants, they get on those things and they make those things happen as quickly and as efficiently as possible, so that, it's time to keep moving forward here. Building this franchise in a major way, I think this is a staple of gaming, and it's very important that I think it comes back in a big way, guys. So those all in all are like the major things that I want to see moving forward. I'm not going to really get into like the story, what I want to see from the story, because I want them to surprise me with those things. But let me know what you guys want to see in Halo Infinite. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Halo Infinite content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.